think summer was very beneficial. Actually, we've had a lot of injuries from last fall. Some of our players really didn't get a lot of touches, but a lot of rehab time and recovery time, and I think we're almost healthy, which is very exciting. So I'm very hopeful that by Pac12 play, we'll have all 14 players cleared and ready to go. So we're getting close.
I had a chance to talk with some of the players over the summer. They said that going through a time of adversity allowed this team to really come together. How do you think that's going to be able to translate when they're out here on the court?
I think we're very close, from the coaching staff to the players to the managers. I think it's a group that is very bonded. I think they can be very open and honest with each other, which is a benefit. It can cause some friction sometimes, but it tends to go away. I've said before that guys teams, you can normally just say something and you heard it and it's over. And women's teams, that's not necessarily the case. This group is pretty much, they can get off their chest, they say what they need to say, and we move on. So I think that's a good thing for us.
You mentioned the injuries. You jump right into it against pretty high-powered. Who do you think you won't have some people for that opening week?
Yeah, so I don't think we'll have Jolie back in time. So I think she's getting close, and then Haley McLaren. So two of our left sides, which is you'd rather have be at full strength when you're playing Nebraska and Texas opening weekend, but we probably won't be there yet. We'll see, but the two of them will probably be out. Jolie's a really big deal to us. So when we beat Washington last year, I thought she was the best player on the court. So she can just do a lot of things for us. So we're gonna miss not having her. But we're getting close, and it's nice to see her back out there and getting close, and I think that's very exciting for our group, and definitely for her. So,
how do you feel about that opening weekend with this group?
Well, I think for us, we want to be the best whatever that means, the best that we can be. So I think you get a chance to go out and you get to play. Texas has to be the favorite. They're preseason #1 in the country. Nebraska's #5. They've been in the last 2 Final Fours and won a national championship 2 years ago. So I think you get to play people that right out of the gate, they're going to show you what you're good at and what you're not so good at. So I think that is nice. It's nice to be able to see, what, this is what we need to get back to the drawing board on. Or maybe it's just some tweaks, and I'm hoping it's just tweaks. But I'm excited to watch us compete, and I would really like for us to just be fearless and go out and just go really hard against good competition.
How do you go about trying to make up for what Amanda Benton did to this team, and how do you substitute that when she's gone now?
Yeah, so we've been, like I've said, you can't replace Amanda Benton with a single player. So we have a lot of really good ball control people on our team that the more that they can step up their game, the more we can close the gap as a group. And that's what we're really striving for. Lindsay Vanderweide has passed a lot of balls for us, so she just needs to be stable. I don't want her to do more. I just want her to be even better at what she does. And then Alex Honar, who's a senior libero, she needs to bring her experience to the floor. Maureen Hall-Poirier, Jolie when she's back, Brooke Van Sickle, who we recruited initially to replace Amanda as libero. But right now we might be using her as the outside. So it'll be nice to have more ball control in that position. That could be an added benefit for us. So just more people just have to step up, And again, if all of a sudden you're playing the best teams right away, we're going to see what they're made out of, So.
You said that you think Veronica Stone is the best middle in the nation. Why is that? And she's just a sophomore. This is just her second year.
Her creativity is off the charts. The game just comes really easy to her. We say natural. People are natural athletes, or she's a natural player. It's just because she's done it more than everybody else. She's just really experienced. She's been playing at a high level with club ball since junior high. She was an All-American in 18 Open with the oldest kids as a sophomore. She's the only. So she's just played a lot of volleyball against really good competition, has been successful. So I think her confidence. I've never coached a more confident player on the court, and I think that's intimidating to other people, and it's exciting to our team.
You've been coaching volleyball and been around the game your entire life. Is there any nerves for you being your first year as the head coach here at Oregon?
Not nerves in a negative way. I just think it's excitement. I'm excited to see how I can make us better. I'm excited to get in the game against some of the best coaches that we have and compete against them. And I have big, lofty goals, and I want to see how I can progress as a professional, and the impact that I can make on my young women's teams, in their lives. So, yeah.
Philosophically, how do you approach the game? It might be different what we might see on the floor this year than in years past.
Philosophically, I think actually I approach it very similar to where we've been in the past. I want to use our strengths, and I want to minimize our weaknesses. I think in the past we ran a really fast offense because we weren't the biggest team, so we needed to use speed in order to beat teams up on offense. I still want to be able to go fast now that we're a little bigger, because I think the combination could be something that's pretty special. Probably where I differ more is I'll spend a lot more time on the technical side of the game, so breaking down skills more and getting us confident in each repetition. Where in the past it was more 6-on-6 is where you learn how to play. So that piece is going to be a little different. I'm doing my best to integrate both. And so far I think we've done a pretty good job of that. We're seeing gains from both sides of teaching. So.
But do you think fans who've watched you will say, oh, this team is doing that different, or they look different on the court, or no, that's a copy of last year? Or?
Yeah, I've been actually really impressed with a lot of our fans that have come up to me just that have come stop by practice, and they go, hey, you're doing this, aren't you? And I go, you caught that? That's pretty good. Yeah, we are trying to do that, and it makes me feel good because that means we're actually executing. If fans, are catching those things. So there's going to be a few changes, and hopefully they're subtle changes in a lot of ways. But I think they'll put us tactically in a better position with the strengths that we have. So, for example, we have two really good one-leg middles. Veronica runs behind the setter and jumps off 1 foot, and she does that as good as anybody in the country, and Samit does that as well. How do we do that when we have two really great opposites that hit behind the setter? So we're trying to move our passes more towards the middle of the court in order to allow all of them to hit behind the setter. Things like that. We're trying to use our strengths and find ways to put it all together to make us the best that we can be.
Just to look around the Pac-12. I mean,
Yeah.
Obviously it's always been a loaded conference.
Yeah.
How do you see it shaping up this year?
Well, Washington's won back-to-back. I mean, our conference is so crazy that Washington wins the conference and Stanford wins the national championship. So that just tells you just what our conference is like. I think Washington returned to everybody, and they have two really good additions. So I think you have to consider them the favorite. Stanford loses a few key people, but they have the best recruiting class in the country from a year ago, and they're really good. They're going to be right up there again. I think Utah is really good, and they, like us, they didn't lose a lot. So I think they're in the mix, and I think we could go 10 teams in the tournament this year again, like we did a couple years ago. So definitely could see 9, easily 10 possibly. So I think, again, it's just really deep. And I think the bottom teams are still good, and they could beat you any night. So, I mean, it's a brutal conference. It's brutal probably more so as a coach than a player, having to prepare for a tourney team, caliber tourney team every night. But it's a really fun challenge. So,
what about yourself? Fair national ranking, where you are now, you think, for your team?
I mean, it's fine. We have to prove things first before we get anything. 2 years ago we beat UCLA, and then last year we beat Washington, and that's it. So as far as if we want to be ranked any higher than we are, we have to go out and we have to beat these teams consistently, which is why I like our schedule, because we need to be able to, if we want to make noise at the end, we have to consistently be playing at this high level. And right now, just in the few years I've been here, we've just been really inconsistent. I actually just had a meeting with my team, just telling them that the effort isn't good enough to play at a consistently high level. We're getting great individual performances every other day, and that's what's going to happen if you want to be 10-10 in conference. We were 13-7 in conference, and we dropped matches that I don't think we should have dropped last year, and that's because we go in and out, and we can't do that anymore. We should be more mature. We're older, so it doesn't necessarily always correlate, but we should be, in an ideal world. So that's what we're working on, is every day, every practice, you have to bring it. And if we don't, I'm going to tell you about it, and you might not like to hear it, but you're going to hear it from me anyway, okay? And your teammates are going to hear it, and we got to fix it. So.
Have you started to notice any emerging leaders on the team, and reflecting from beach season, how is the coaching staff working to help maintain solid chemistry with the team on and off the court?
Leaders, because not a lot of turnover, I think it's been consistent from last year. Maggie Scott has been a leader. I think Taylor August is a leader for us. I think Alex Honar's done a really nice job of stepping up, replacing Amanda as being more of a leader. The whole freshman class from last year, that's sophomores, they're all very confident people. So they kind of they do their own thing, but they do it at a very high level. But they fall in line. I think Veronica as a player is a leader just because she's really special and people are going to look to her to carry offensively, like we did in the postseason last year. We really turned to her a lot. And then what was the question about Beach?
Just reflecting from beach season, how the team maintains solid chemistry on and off the court with the coaching staff.
Sure. So for Beach, it's been basically it's the same group. It's the same core of players. There's only one Beach-only player that's not in here. So I think just for us, it was a good experience just to be together. We don't play home matches, so we get to go on the road, and that generally helps with bonding, and kind of get through things as they change. So it gave me a chance to go out on the road with the team, so that when we go to Gainesville, it's not my first time taking the team on a road trip. So we've already done it a few times through the Beach season. So yeah, I think it made it a smooth transition for us because we got to get some of those kinks maybe out of the way early.
You mentioned Alex stepping up. In what ways has she stepped up in getting ready to replace Amanda Benton?
Sure. So I think serve receive is number one. If we pass the ball well, we're really tough. As you've seen in years past, because of the offense that we run, we want to go fast. We need to have good ball control for our setters to be able to be in an optimal position to get us the ball. So she's done a nice job of passing the ball for us and stabilizing us. And then she's able to step in and make Brooke and Lindsay better because of her ability to pass the ball. Defensively, I think she's working really hard. She's trying to be a good leader by her effort, by her attitude, and she's doing what we need her to do. She's doing her role. So the quicker that she can come along, the more successful we're going to be. So.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Sure.